What's up everyone, this is John with Skate Better, and today we are doing the OJ Nomad wheel review. So overall, I'm really excited to review this wheel. It's a newer wheel on the market. I don't think there are many reviews out there, and I've never tried OJ, so I was really excited to give them a try and see how it worked out. I'm gonna get into some things about the wheels first, and then I'll give you my final thoughts at the end. So let's get it started with just some general comparisons to some other wheels that I have skated in the past. Okay, so this is conical full 52 millimeter Spitfire. This is Spitfire regular conical 52 millimeter. This is the OJ tablet shape. And then last is the Spitfire Classic shape. So pretty popular sizes. I think the full and the Classic would be the most popular, but I wanted you to get an idea of what they look like. Also, I have whipped up this lovely sheet because you know I'm a little bit of a gearhead. So the conical full, I went in order of width. So this is the widest wheel, conical full, 32.5 by 21 riding surface. And then if you go down to the regular conical, you got 31.5 width and a riding surface of 19.5. So similar width, a little bit less riding surface, almost negligible. And then we go to the Spitfire tablet shape. So I don't have one of those with me, but I wanted you to get an idea of the Spitfire tablet versus the Nomad, because this is pretty much OJ's tablet shape. That's what it is. Spitfire, 21 riding surface, 30 width. OJ Nomad, 30 width, but slightly less riding surface. And then last but not least, the Classics. Riding surface, definitely the least on the Classics, 15, and then the width is 31. So hopefully that helps. I don't know how much of a difference or how many of you are gonna find that valuable. I think it helps. I think it gives you an idea of some of the slight differences or nuances between the wheels, and really it's more about how they function for you at the end of the day. So back to the Nomad shape. My first impression of this wheel was it was freaking buttery. And what I mean by that is most of the wheels I skate are a 99 duro. I've skated wheels before that are a 101 duro, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, the durometer meter isn't really consistent from brand to brand. I think I've heard that. I'm just gonna let you know my opinion. This is a 94 duro. So most wheels come in 101 or 99. I believe those are the most common duros. They're a little bit slipperier than this, but the whole point of this wheel is a softer wheel would be better on hard ground and would also be a little bit stickier. And that was basically the case. When I first threw this wheel on my deck and I skated, and I live in some crusty streets in Miami. I'm on South Beach, and the streets are really old, they're really crusty, and it felt so buttery. Like the first ride, I remember feeling like, wow, I'm gliding on the street right now, and I've never had that sensation before. And I will be honest, after the first 2 weeks, that sensation started to lessen. So I don't know if that was something that was just on the wheel when I first got it that wore off over time, or if it's just me getting used to the wheel, honestly. But either way, I am gonna say that sensation wore off after about the first 2 weeks, and it still felt more buttery than some of the other wheels I've skated, but it started to feel more like a conical full type of deal. It didn't really have that much of a butteriness to it after the first couple weeks. Second thing I wanna talk about is traction of this wheel. Riding this wheel around the skate park was amazing. Like being a 94A, it's a very slippery skate park that I skate. It's all like new concrete, it's amazing. Sometimes it gets dusty, it can get even more slippery. And this wheel doesn't slip at all. I don't think I actually ever slipped out on this wheel, like once. That's not true. Once I did, but it was literally in a puddle. Like I ollied over something, slipped down into a puddle. But other than that, this wheel is so grippy, and I felt really confident leading into turns, things like that. The flip side of that is I love to do reverts and power slides, and this wheel was very hard to revert. And once again, I'm not saying that you can't revert this wheel. If you're a strong legs, I'm sure it's easy for you. I'm just saying it felt a lot more challenging than any other wheel that I've ever tried to revert before. Once again, I know physics says that after a certain point in speed, it really doesn't matter the riding surface that much or the friction of the wheel. I'm just telling you what I experienced, and I do a lot of reverts, and I'm telling you, this wheel was particularly more challenging to revert, especially on stickier surfaces like basketball courts and things like that are like really more cement, like rougher cement rather than smooth cement. It was really tough. So I'm just putting that out there. That was my own interpretation of kind of how the wheel functioned on terrain. Next thing I want to talk about is this functionability of this wheel, like what I would use it for, the benefits that I thought. I will say it's a very light wheel. I mean, these wheels are all really light. It's not too much of a difference, but compared to the conical full, I will say compared to that wheel, it definitely felt a little bit lighter. It felt almost more like a classic, like it was just really good for flip tricks. What it's for is responsiveness for flip tricks, but also stability going over rough surfaces and then locking into grinds because it has a little bit more of a hard edge as opposed to a rounded edge. I will say that it locked into 50/50s fairly well. I didn't do them on anything crazy, I did it on a lot of small stuff, but it did lock in fairly well. As far as responsiveness, that was like a pro-con. So it's really funny, when I first threw these on the board and I was cruising around, it felt so wobbly and my deck felt super squirrely. Squirrely is like the best word I could use to explain it. And I had to tighten my trucks actually, to be really honest with y'all. I tighten my trucks like a full crank around. I do ride my trucks medium, so I'd say like medium to medium loose, but I had to go like medium to slightly medium tight with these just to offset the swirliness of the wheel. After I did that, it started to feel really, really great. I didn't really have any more issues with it, but just something to be on the lookout for if you are gonna pick up this wheel. I wanna talk about the durability of this wheel. As you can see, I've been skating this wheel for 2 months now, and it, maybe a little bit longer than that actually, and it looks pretty darn good. Look at that. I mean, this is the outside of the wheel. This is the inside. I like to just prefer a plainer look on the outside. I don't like the graphic out, so the graphics in. But as you can see, yes, there's a little bit of discoloration. I would say this is like a whiter looking wheel. So as opposed to the Spitfire Formula 4s that kind of have that like yellowish thing, bonish thing going on. This wheel was definitely on the whiter side when I got it, and kind of like a Bones, it really kind of kept much more of its color and its whiteness than the other shapes or the other formulas that I've ridden in the past. So I did like that. I also don't know if that has anything to do with the durometer of the wheel being a little bit softer, if that helped with the durability, but I will say that it felt great going over pretty much any surface. I did a lot of reverts in this. I didn't flat spot it at all. Like none of them have flat spots. It's a very, very durable wheel. And being a 94, I was expecting it to take impact a little bit better. And I don't really know if it does. I don't think the durometer matters that much for impact, so I'll just kind of leave my thoughts there. Speed of the wheel is something else I wanted to address. I do feel like the conical full, maybe the conicals are a little bit faster than this wheel per push, but what I want to acknowledge is the first 2 weeks I got it, I would have sworn that this one was faster just because it was so buttery and so smooth. But if I'm really thinking about speed and how many pushes I had to do certain things on this wheel, I would say that it is up there. It is definitely going to be faster than a classic shape or something like that, but maybe not quite as much as a conical or conical full, depending on what kind of surface you're going over. I think on smooth surfaces, the conical full is definitely a little bit faster. On rough surfaces, I think it's about the same. You get the same kind of amount of speed per push, maybe a little bit more of the conical, but I'll leave my thoughts there. The last thing I want to talk about is the slideability of this wheel. So when I'm comparing it to like a classic shape, it definitely did not feel like it slid as well or as much as a classic or even a conical shape. So I've always heard that getting in and out of slides is a little bit easier on a shape like this that is more of like a rounded all the way down. It doesn't have as much of like a sharp small edge. I don't know if you can see that. It's more of like a gradual curve as it comes down, as opposed to this one's like and then it goes straight down. And look, I'm not claiming to be like a tail slide or no slide expert. I'm not really that good at those slides. I do like some slappies here and there when I want to because they're fun. But it still made a difference, and I still feel like that is an important part of a wheel, especially if you do a lot of those tricks, you're gonna want that. So overall, what would I use this wheel for? Would I go back to it again? Would I buy it again? I would say if they made this wheel in this shape in a 52 millimeter in a 99 duro, I would absolutely give it another shot. I think it's a really, really responsive wheel. It feels great overall for street skating and park skating. It's like a really good wheel for both. Because basically you can go over the really crappy rough surfaces, but also still get a good amount of stability because the duro is a little bit less, so it's a little bit of a stickier wheel. And at the same time, you get good lock-in, you get good responsiveness, you get somewhat decent slide. That was like the biggest con, and it's a really durable wheel. So if you're gonna spend money on one wheel, this could be a really good wheel for you. Also keep in mind, it's a 53 millimeter. It feels bigger to me. I don't know why. It felt relatively bigger than the 52s, even though it was only a millimeter. And I've skated it for once again, a few months now, and it still doesn't look like it's really lost any of its diameter. It still feels like a true 53mm wheel. So know that it's gonna last you. Know that it is great for both things. There's a very few cons on this wheel, but I really think you'll have fun with it. Once again, the two biggest cons just being the slideability and then the swirliness when I first put it on the board. And I'll just admit, I've been skating a lot of fuller shapes that have bigger, wider surfaces, so I should have expected that, but wasn't expecting it to be as big of a swirliness difference. I'm just gonna leave my thoughts there. I think that's about it. I hope you all enjoyed this review. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments if you tried the wheel, or if you have any questions, please leave those below as well, and I will get back to you. But that's pretty much it. I did include a few clips at the end just so y'all can see the wheel in action again. I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you so much. Take care.